I saw that Shaun Wade went in the 5th round. Do you believe that, Mark?
In terms of should he have gone that high or?
Well, I mean, just talk about a drop.
Oh, yeah.
1 year period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he comes out last year, Mark, he's a first-round draft pick.
Probably.
So, I mean, which, would have been impressive. Ohio State would have had 3 first-round draft picks at corner in one draft last year. So, I mean, talk about a rough year and costly one.
Yeah, a rough year, a costly year, and I'm not going to pin this entirely on the Ohio State coaching staff, especially considering what they had to deal with, just like everybody else in the offseason and not having the time on the field to determine what they had. But, of course, nobody was able to determine that he couldn't go to the outside and play.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the common theory, Mark. It's moving from slot corner to the outside. He just did not adjust well. I know that there's some people that are saying that, he had some health issues as well. But, yeah, I mean, playing outside, it was rough. I mean, that Indiana game was rough to begin with. And, of course, I mean, Alabama, forget about it.
I couldn't believe when I saw it today, and maybe this just bypassed me at the time because I don't really keep up with postseason awards, but he was named the defensive back of the year in the Big Ten.
Mark, that might be an indictment on the cornerback. And you know what? Northwestern produces a first-round corner in Newsom to my Cleveland Browns. Shaun Wade goes in the 5th round, but Shaun Wade is the Big Ten defensive back of the year.
Well, and that's what
help me out on that one.
As soon as I saw that, I tweeted that the rumor that nobody watches Northwestern football must be true because they had 2 defensive backs that were better than Shaun Wade, and I'm not even taking into account the rest of the conference. And Shaun Wade, I don't even know if he played in a backfield, a secondary that was disappointing across the board. I don't even know if Shaun Wade was the best defensive back. If we're just looking at performance on the field, not knowing what their names are or how they played in 2019. If we're just judging what they did on the field in 2020, I don't think he was the best defensive back on his team.
Yeah, you're right. Sevyn Banks might have even been better last year.
He probably was the guy.
It was.
Yep.
I just think that it's a shame. I mean, they obviously that was the ultimate downfall as we saw in the last game of the year, unfortunately. But and maybe the biggest concern going into this year for them, in my view. But I will say a little bit more about the draft. I was pleasantly surprised that Pete Werner went into the 2nd round. I was a little bit surprised by that.
I was surprised when our Buckeye contributors said last week that he was getting that kind of love, and they were projecting that he would go in the 2nd or 3rd round. And I said, really, Pete Werner? And then it came to roost.
Mm-hmm.
The analysis was interesting to hear between Mel Kiper and Louis Riddick. So when Pete Werner was drafted, Louis Riddick said, despite what he ran in the 40, which helped his draft stock, he ran a 4.58, I believe was the time, that Louis Riddick had no confidence of him playing in space in coverage. And Mel Kiper argued with Riddick about it. Riddick said, this guy's a traditional linebacker who reads the blocking schemes and gets to the ball carrier and needs to be given a pass rush role most of the time against the pass because he can't cover guys in space. And Kiper was like, he ran a 4.58. He can cover guys. He just needs to be coached. And so they had a bit of a back and forth about Pete Werner.
Right. Well, I mean, I thought his coverage skills were decent, Mark, not great. I mean, if you're just the linebacker you're describing, in my view, is more Tough Borland, which is more of a, like 1990s linebacker that's, basically there to defend the I formation. He's that type of guy. Whereas I think I think Warner is more capable of playing in space. I don't know how that'll translate to the NFL, because the NFL is a whole different kind of deal, but